I met owner of COAS Books, Mike Beckett, appropriately in the business section of his downtown store to talk about the minimum wage.
What I know is what it does to me in my business. I'm a small business, family owned.
He was 16 when he took his first job. He made the minimum wage for the next 6 years.
So I got a job as a sheet metal worker, and bless their hearts, I don't know why they kept me.
Then he decided to work for his dad. He says he made the minimum for a long time, but he considers that sweat equity for building something he says he has to this day, his bookstore.
I want to work with my family, and I want to be part of something bigger than me, and that's kind of what these small businesses are.
He starts workers here close to the minimum, but he says he raises their wages to match their skills. Some employees are here to work for a summer, others have been here for decades. The ones with more experience are paid more, he says. The U.S. Department of Labor raised the federal minimum a series of times between 2007 and 2009. In July 2007, it was raised from $5.15 to $5.85. 1 year later to $6.55, and then again in 2009 to $7.25 an hour. Beckett says during that time he had to cut his staff from 35 employees to 30. He introduced some automation to eliminate employees that are still in place today.
It was crippling to us. We had to stop. We couldn't grow anymore. We couldn't fix our buildings. We had to let 5 of our 35 people go. We had to raise our prices. There was just all these things that happened.
Senior economist with Wells Fargo, Dr. Eugenio Alemán, recently talked with KRWG about the minimum wage.
There are some industries that are going to have more trouble than others. We are in an environment where there's no inflation, very low inflation, so firms will have difficulty in passing that increase in salaries into what they sell.
So did Dr. Jim Peach, Regents Professor of Economics at NMSU.
People talk about the costs of raising the minimum wage, but there's also a very positive effect of that. Minimum wage workers spend virtually all of their income. Bill Gates, some rich person, has trouble spending all of their income. The poor generally spend it all, and where do they spend it? They spend it locally.
Taking a look at another sector of small businesses takes us to the restaurant La Posta, where owner Tom Hutchinson says raising the minimum by a lot on exempt employees like servers doesn't make sense to him.
We typically get young men and women who are seeking employment for the first time, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. We're delighted to fill that role in their life.
Hutchinson also sits on the National Restaurant Association Board of Directors, saying his industry is thrown in with others when it's not the same.
The average margin in my business is 3, 4, 5%.
He says servers make well above the minimum after tips and considers it a sales position.
They choose instead to work flexible hours, less hours than 40 hours a week, and in return, the upside of working on a commission or the tips.
Many economists and local leaders say raising the minimum would have little to no effect on large retailers. As opposed as Hutchinson and Beckett are to raising the minimum wage, they would agree as well. They argue local businesses like theirs who compete with large ones are the ones that will hurt the most.
Go out of business, or we shrink down to just mom and pop, and those big boxes have their pick of the litter, and they grow. And guess what? The CEOs get richer.
They also argue small businesses bring different value to the community.
I live in my communities, I live around my employees, I live and breathe this business. As a result, we're the restaurant industry in general, and certainly La Posta, we're the philanthropic foundation for the community in general.
Sloan Patton, KRWG News.